Hi, my name is Marvell Terry II. I'm the Senior Program Manager for the Southern HIV Impact Fund, and I am in Greenville, Mississippi with Cedric at CH-PIER. How you doing?
I'm doing great, Marvell. How are you?
I'm doing good. I said your name, but tell us who you are.
Okay, I'm Cedric Sturdevant,
Okay.
co-founder and executive director of CH-PIER.
Okay.
And CH-PIER stands for Community Health, Prevention, Intervention, Education, and Research.
Wow. How did you come up with that name?
Well, we actually looked at the word peer,
Okay.
and thought about all the work
P-I-E-R.
P-I-E-R, yeah, and thought about all the work that we wanted to do, and thought about the way a peer connects people when they're coming in
That's good.
to land. And basically, if you're taking a trip on a boat somewhere, when you dock somewhere, taking a cruise, you dock somewhere, you get off on the pier, then you're able to go into town and get everything that you need. So that's kind of where we got that from.
It's a little play on words because the pier, this docking station, this connection from land to water, but also you provide peer support.
Peer support,
P-E-E-R.
P-E-R.
Yeah.
Peer support for people living with HIV, peer support and navigating the system for PrEP, and also peer support for individuals dealing with mental health.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So still that bridge.
That bridge. Still that bridge.
Still that bridge.
That connects.
That connection. So we're talking about P-I-E-R, the pier. We are in Mississippi, Greenville, Mississippi. What made you want to just start CH-PIER in this rural area?
Well, my sister and I has both been working in like health areas differently. I mean, basically working with HIV. She mostly working with obesity, other health issues. And we had an aunt to pass away from a heart attack. So, with us both having that background, and me, this is my home area.
Okay.
And when I left here and went to Jackson, there was nothing here for people living with HIV. Matter of fact, that when I first moved back here after my diagnosis, I started a support group, because I didn't know anybody else around here, did not find that. So I wanted to come back here because there was still no resources. Everything was going to Jackson. Things wasn't coming to rural areas, and especially the Mississippi Delta, but the numbers were just as high, as those in the metropolitan area. So as I was working in Jackson, I kept saying, we need to go to the Delta, can we go to the Delta? But they didn't have the funds at the time to do that. So when I got the opportunity to come back here, then I was like, and mainly I would say, God is the one that brought me back here, to be honest, because I really didn't want to, come back. But God, no, that's where you went and you have learned as much as you could. Now it's time for you to go back and help the people here.
We often talk about numbers and, the population, but can you humanize the people of Greenville? Who are the people of Greenville, Mississippi?
People of Greenville is like people that basically mostly live in poverty.
Okay.
You got the unemployment rate around here is just, because there's no jobs. You have people of the LGBTQ community who, in a sense, hides, because of stigma and being in a Bible Belt state. You got people that may, how can I say this? Guys that may like guys, but they definitely don't want people to know, so they may still have a girlfriend or even be married.
Online, I've seen they say discreet.
Yeah, discreet. That's the word
Right.
you use now, discreet.
Yeah.
And you do have some, a lot of black business owners, around here, like either a clothing store or a restaurant. Selling, of course, the soul food, the wings, the fish, and all of that. And you have a lot of Christian people, you know, in the Baptist, I'm gonna put it that way. The Baptist faith is heavily in this area.
Also know there's some historically black colleges near?
Yes.
Here?
We have the Mississippi Valley State University, which is probably about 40 minutes from
40
here.
minutes, okay.
Yeah, from here. And we have Kahoma Community College, which is majority black. I think it's all black.
Okay.
2-year college in Clarksdale, Mississippi.
Okay.
Yeah, and we have other, we have Delta State, which is majority white.
Okay.
And of course, Delta Community College in Morehead, Mississippi, which the population of that is probably what it was as far as black and white.
How did you survive COVID? How did Cedric survive COVID? But how did CH-PIER survive COVID too?
Well, Cedric actually was diagnosed with COVID in 2020 and hospitalized, you know, for about, I think, 3 or 4 days. Yeah. To me, it kind of brought me a little more closer to God because once I got out of the hospital, I'm stuck at the house by myself, couldn't do nothing. So I did a lot of reading and some watching TV. But I thank God it just kind of reaffirmed my faith a little bit more. It was tough though, you know, because not being able to see your family for a long time, not being able to actually, before I contracted COVID, we had stopped coming to the office and we was doing, you know, everything at home. But even after COVID, I still couldn't get back to doing stuff virtually because one conference I was on, and I had one of the other speaker tell me, Cedric, I can hear that your tiredness in your voice, so you need to not take no more, just rest. For us, the business organization, we started doing virtual stuff and just stayed in contact with some of the clients that we had. You know, because we would get calls because the clinics and everything was closed too. And they were basically talking about, you know, they went to the clinic, couldn't get that, and we still had to kind of connect it in a sense. But a lot of virtual meetings that we had, trying to stay with our support groups, but it was still difficult because in this area, you know, you have some of the clients that don't have the equipment basically to use, and then you have some of them that may live out farther rural where they really don't get the connection.
Gotcha. You talked about 2020, more so summer 2020. You had George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, Ahmaud Arbery, and the list can go on and on. You've been a black man all your life.
Right.
You know, most of your clientele, I would suggest, are black men.
Right.
How did that moment or those moments impact you and your leadership and your sons? You know, I know that you have a rich gay family. You know, and you have many sons. How did moments like that impact your life?
It realized that we had to do a lot of talking and communicating with each other. And for the younger guys in the community, you know, it was kind of teaching them, you know, just because you're doing what the police say doesn't mean you're weak, but that means to keep you alive. You know, if he tell you to put your hand on the steering wheel, do that. Don't resist. You know, we talked a lot about that in the church as well. And it for me is like, why are we going backwards? Why is this happening to us? And sometimes I talk with young heterosexual men as well, you know, and I'm like, you know, we're killing ourselves, you know, well, police are killing us. We don't need no help killing ourselves because we had, you know, the murder rate had went up in this area, which was just shocking.
Yeah. How did you have to reimagine, you know, CH-PIER? You know, we're not just addressing HIV anymore. It is a multitude of issues that we are addressing. How have you had to, as we talk about reimagining the HIV response, how have you had to reimagine what CH-PIER looks like in the community?
Well, we had to realize that, especially on the HIV side, that we had to actually not just single out a certain population, but basically go to all the populations.
I see.
You know, we had to get other entities involved that actually not HIV related organizations, like a domestic violence organization, organizations that deal with colleges and trying to get the professors and the teachers involved in the issues as well as you know, sexual assault. We had to kind of redefine that in a little bit, and in the same sense let them know, hey, this of course in dealing with that, you're dealing with more heterosexual people, but you also have to let them know that these things can also lead to you getting an HIV diagnosis. So, and we had to get into the church a little bit more, you know, especially with this being in this area. So we had to, you know, get into the church a little bit more, get them a little bit more involved in that. We've been successful with 3 of the churches thus far, but, you know, it's quite more that we need to reach out to.
I'm glad that you talked about faith in church. What does that mean to you? Faith, church.
Well, I consider myself a spiritual person. I really don't go by a denomination or whatever. I'm a true believer in God. I'm a true believer in His words. You know, I try to focus on what He said to me, you know, other than go on Sunday morning and just listen to the pastor and go by what the pastor say. But I grew up, you know, in the Baptist arena. You know, a small Baptist church in my little hometown, which is Metcalf, about like 5 miles away from here. And it was just different, you know, and I grew up knowing that I was a same gender loving man, but I called it then. So, and I thought, you know, of course. So faith to me is just making sure you believe in God for you and know that He loves you regardless of what He do. I mean, in my church, the church family knows all about me, you know, and I was just ordained. Well, it's been a year now. I was ordained as a minister. So yeah, and to me, what the church I go to give off is love, because I consider us to be like a street church, because people come in, it doesn't matter what you've been through, you know, and we try not to look at people crazy, but hey, they know who I am.
I know you've been working in Mississippi a long time. Who has been your inspiration? Whether they're still present or their ancestor, who did you look up to in doing this work in Mississippi?
My ultimate, I would say my hero, or the person I looked up to, is the late Dr. Mark Cologne. And I say that
the
because
founder of
My Brother's Keeper, correct. Actually, in 2008, I had an interview with him, and he hired me. You know, it was amazing. He had called me that Friday, did a phone interview, and that Sunday morning before I got up to go to church, he was like, "Have you been to church yet?" He said, I said, "No." He said, "Well, I'm going to give you something to shout about." And so, and even when I started working there, just him kind of showing the ropes a little bit, him got me a little bit out of my shell, because involuntarily I had to do some things, you know, as me being a person living with HIV, and I was open then about it. And whenever there was, he needed someone to speak on something and whatever, and he kept getting me involved in different stuff. And one thing that he told me that stayed to heart was he was doing raises, giving people raises. and he called me in. It was my time, and he explained how the system worked. And because I didn't have a college degree, and he was explaining how the system worked, and he told me, he said, you do better work than those that have college degree in here, and it just in a sense to keep on going. And that's what I kind of try to base PIER after, how he would do it, and I know that it wasn't all about HIV with him, and that's what I know for us to sustain, that we can't all be just about HIV.
Yeah, that's good. What does CH-PIER need? If you had a list of your needs, what do you need?
I need a building, right? Because we're growing.
You are growing.
We are growing.
We've had an opportunity to take a tour, and an amazing facility, and you are using every inch of it.
Every inch of it.
Yeah.
And I know the future is bright.
Yeah.
And I know that we're gonna expand. Of course, I think every organization needs money, and to make sure that we're doing it, putting it in the right place and doing the right things with it. Me personally, I actually, because being an executive director is new to me.
Okay.
I actually would like to connect to other Black directors, gay directors, and just kind of not get, because sometimes I have that anxiety, so I can kind of ease down on that anxiety. I want to make sure that we're reaching the community, all of the community, because I really think that if we reach all the community, then those ones that's kind of like the weed, that we will be able to reach them too, so they can come out of that and making sure their life is safe, with all issues, because we know mental health is a big issue around here.
Well, we are excited to continue to have you as a grantee under the Southern HIV Impact Fund, and also today finding out that one of your staff members are in the leadership development program with SHIF. What does that mean, to have your staff just be developed? What does that mean?
It's like being a proud papa.
Yeah.
It's seeing that growth, but now other people can see, the staff I've had. I'm very pleased with the staff I've had, because we have one staff, China, who's a CDC ambassador, so he's on that program.
That's good.
Dorothy, who is actually the oldest, youngest person here. And, she's been living with HIV for 30-some years. So to see her go out, and she's amazing in the community. And, so it's just feel good to know, okay, I guess I'm doing something right, And it's like, I'm paving the way for new generations, and that's basically what I want, and what I told them, guys, I'm 57, I'm getting close to 65. So I, want to know that people, if not here at PIER, that they would stay in the community to help the community.
What is, as long as I've known you, you have always had young people around. You've always been that leader that you experienced that you didn't want other kids to experience. And so you've always set a different paradigm shift. What is your legacy? What do you want your legacy to be? Now, you're not going nowhere.
No.
But I understand we have many different chapters in our life. And when you think about your impact, what do you consider your impact to be as of today?
I think my impact is more so a caring, and more so a person that listens to the youth, someone who's actually guiding them and not afraid of them taking over in a sense. You know how some leaders don't want to tell them too much because they feel that, okay, they're going to replace them. You know, I want them to learn, you know. I want them to learn. I want them to say, you know, I mean, they can say a lot of kind words, but I really want them to say that, you know, Cedric taught us something, and he gave us the courage to go on. He gave us the courage to do this work.
That's good.
And not be ashamed of who we are, and continue to do this work.
One last thing, when you were giving us a tour, we talk about our agriculture program, and I found it to be very unique because as we talk about inflation and food deserts, tell us a little bit about that program.
Okay, that program is a grant from USDA and NRCS. What that program is doing, actually, we're working with high school students right now. Before the summer, you know, we took them to, there's a farm near Clarksdale called Young Farm, which is owned by Black people.
Oh, wow.
So we took them there to let them hear other people in agriculture, other farmers, other people that are working with NRCS, and how talking about the importance of growing stuff and how farming, because you know people think farming you don't get no money, but you know, especially people these days, and this also kind of helps them to eat healthy. You know, it's in a nutritious way, and it's also kind of helps to, you know, this areas have a lot of food deserts, so. And with the way the world is going now, and inflation and all of that, teaching them to grow their own crop. And also, they have a business development part in this program also. So if they choose to grow and sell, then they'll know how to. And working in the fields, you know, I'm a country boy, I always work in the fields. It can somewhat be a little bit of meditation, especially growing a garden.
That's good.
Because you're looking at the fact that you're looking at something that you grew, and it's coming up right, you know, and it is something you accomplish, especially for these younger people.
My grandmother had a garden growing up, and what it taught me, this principle of planting a seed and watching it grow, and watering it, and tolling the ground and knowing that it needs some care. And as I look at your vision of CH-PIER, how you planted this seed and you've watered it, now you're watching it grow. And I just want to say thank you so much.
Thank you, Marvell.
Thank you for your vision, and thank you for your time.
Thank you.